So I watched the AEW Wrestle Dream last night, and I didn't go live for it. I just didn't really want to. Because, number one, I wasn't really too enthused about the entire card. There was like 3 matches that I wanted to see, but the other matches, I'm like, I could do with that. I could do or die without seeing them. But because I'm a good Samaritan, and I don't believe in bootlegging at all, I bought the pay-per-view. So instead of doing my traditional review, because I think I'm going to wait to do that on my podcast, which is dropping Monday morning, Superplex Podcast on my YouTube channel. Instead of doing a traditional review, I'm going to do my hot and mild takes of this show. These are all the takeaways from each match I saw. Not a traditional review from Suplex, but let's get into it. There was literally one match on a pre-show that I saw. It was the Maximum Male Model Collection and the Acclaimed. And I... You look so good to... Rico was the referee. He was the manager for Mason and Massey, or... No, Mason and Mansoor, I believe. Dude, it was a cheap pop. I was so happy. I was so excited because I haven't thought or heard Rico's name since like, 2000, early 2000s. No one ever talks about Rico, bro. It's quite literally, he lives in infamy for being in the early SmackDown games. He was in Shut Your Mouth, Here Comes the Pain, and like SmackDown versus Raw. That's it. Also, he's known for having one of the greatest wrestling theme songs of all time. And don't argue with me, argue with your mother, because it's the facts. The whole match, I'm like, I want to see him and Billy have interaction, because we all know about the Billy and Chuck wedding with Rico, officiating the whole thing. So they have history there, and that's all I cared about. The Acclaimed one, and don't ask me a single thing that happened in this match outside of Billy giving Rico the famous sir, because I didn't really care. But what I do care about is Mason and Mansoor. If they're signed to AEW, and I think they probably are, if they're signed to AEW, I need you to get these guys on Dynamite today. With Rico, I need all 3 of them on Dynamite, not Collision, because I don't watch Collision. Now I know too many people who actually watch Collision weekly. Not Rampage. Dynamite. I need them going after the AEW Tag Team Championships. Tony Khan, work on this and quickly. I've seen several Hangman Page versus Jay White matches, a lot of them being in New Japan, a lot of the earlier years. And this was like really good because Hangman Page came into this match working the heel, and Jay White, almost by proxy, had to work like babyface defense. And I thought that was like really fun to see. It was like a big switch in dynamic from these two. And Jay White did kind of fall back on heel tendencies a little bit during the match because I think he just can't help himself. He's just naturally a heel. It was cool to see these guys change up their formula this time because they're so used to wrestling like, Hangman's babyface, Jay White's heel. You know how that goes. My biggest takeaway from this match is the ending, which was outstanding. Hangman Page already had his leg being targeted by Jay White throughout the match, so he was kind of hesitating to do the buckshot lariat. He does a little pull in the ring, springboards in, and immediately Jay White catches him like mid-flight, has his neck tuck. 2 seconds later, he hits the Blade Runner. It was such a crisp, clean, one of the best counters to a buckshot lariat I think I've ever seen. Make sure you go watch this match just for the buckshot lariat counter. Jay White won. I did see some people upset, like, why did you have Hangman Page lose? It's this pay-per-view match. He shouldn't have. This is kind of a lose-lose situation no matter who walked out the winner. If Jay White loses, he lost his first pay-per-view match back. Hangman loses, well, his momentum is kind of halted a little bit. I don't think Hangman's really going to lose too much from losing this match, so I think he'll be fine. The whole time I was watching Mariah versus Willow Nightingale, I was subtly saying in the back of my head, they turned Chris Statlander babyface on a promo package on Dynamite because they ran out of babyfaces. Look at the landscape of AEW's women's division. They have a lot of heels and like very little babyfaces. So like I understand why, but it was a very, very cheap and fast and rushed way to turn Chris babyface. She played no role in this match, but I wanted to bring that up because that's what I was thinking about during this match. Willow Nightingale wore gear that was very strikingly similar to Akira Hokuto gear, which I loved. And I think Mariah needs a feud. Like, she needs a story right now because her core story was with Toni Storm, and that seems to be over. So right now, it seems like she is just a champion defending her championship with no direction, and it just makes her championship reign feel kind of lesser than, Same with Mercedes. Neither of the women's champions have stories right now. At least when Toni Storm was champion, she had a very captivating character. Mariah so far has just been kind of like shadow Tony. I don't know. Needs improvement. Match itself was good though. Now I was going into this match wondering how Katsuri Shibata is going to take the L to Jack Perry. And given Jack Perry has been kind of beating some New Japan guys recently, like I know he just beat Minoru Suzuki like a few weeks ago at Grand Slam. I'm trying to give him some like very big wins under his belt. And Katsuri Shibata would be a fairly big win for Jack Perry. Katsuri Shibata spent most of this match just bullying Jack Perry, and I love that. One of the gnarliest wrestling spots I've seen all year happened when Katsuri Shibata suplexed Jack Perry into the apron, legs first. It was so gross because both of Jack Perry's legs hit the side of the ring apron and he was like caving them in. I understand he was selling, but like, that was really dangerous. Hated the finish of this match. Like, I'm supposed to believe that Katsuri Shibata, a veteran in the business, goes for a sleeper hold. Jack Perry falls onto this man, and Katsuri Shibata hears the referee counting, but does not think to kick out. Like, yeah, like, even Katsuri Shibata's shoulders weren't even pinned to the mat all the way. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if I'm a wrestler and another wrestler is on top of me in any way, shape, or form, and I hear the referee counting, my instinct will be to kick out. I'm going to break the hold. I'm going to kick out. Because obviously, I'm the one getting pinned if a wrestler's on top of me. The crowd booed this finish. And I guess you're going to say, oh, it's great heel work. It was supposed to be, it was a stupid finish. Don't try to defend this shit. Great match, as I expected it to be. But I do want to have like one little hot take on Will Ospreay real quick. I think I'm starting to get Ospreay fatigue. And here's how I'll describe it. Will Ospreay is a tremendous wrestler. I will never deny that, and no one should be denying that. Some of the best matches I've seen all year have been from Will Ospreay, and it's been that way for the last 4 years. The thing about Will Ospreay matches now is that he kind of has a formula to his matches. If you see enough of anybody's matches, you start to figure out their formula. And Will Ospreay, I feel like he's been kind of super exposed by Tony Khan's booking now. And it's a simple fact that Tony Khan ran through like almost all of Will Ospreay's dream matches in like a short span of time. Will Ospreay signed with AEW in February. We have already gotten a match with Swerve, with MJF, with Bryan Danielson, with Ricochet, with Takeshita. With the exception of like a few people, Will Ospreay has already ran through a lot of his dream opponents. I don't know why Tony Khan is in such a hurry to just get to these matches. Can we slow down with Will Ospreay? Like, he's international champion, already contested for the World Championship and the Tag Team Championships. I'm almost certain he will probably win the title back from Takeshita, who did win this match. You have him signed under contract for like several years. He's not going anywhere. Just give him a few matches that are like in the mid-card against other people that can have great matches. There's no reason to just rush through these matches because, and essentially, he's booking Will Ospreay like the way he booked Bryan Danielson this year, where he feels the need to run through all these dream matches. In some ways, I feel like it's kind of ruining the novelty of Will Ospreay because we're becoming, at least I'm becoming so exposed to Will Ospreay that I can just, you know, close my eyes and envision how the match is going to go. I'll have more on this match in my full review. Let's get into the rest of the show. I like this match a lot, but I don't really understand why they had a lucha match follow a lucha match. Big of a hologrammer as I am, I would not have had this right after Ricochet, Takeshita, and Ospreay. For all the cool, high-octane, high-action spots, it really did kind of kill the crowd for the next match. There were some very, very impressive spots in here. But I would have just had this open the show or had it somewhere a little higher up on the card. I still am of the ideology that Darby Allin should have wrestled Swerve Strickland. Which gets me to this segment. This segment was a humongous waste of time. Bobby Lashley ain't debut. Nobody debuted. This segment was made for no other reason than to get Swerve Strickland on the show in front of his hometown. Which is fine, but he should have faced Darby Allin at that point. They have history in Washington. They're both Washington boys. Unless he's not medically cleared, I will not understand why he didn't wrestle on the show. This did nothing to advance the storyline with MVP and Prince Nana. It was basically what we could have seen on Dynamite. Young Bucks came out, called Private Party a bunch of mid-carders, and then had a great match and proceeded to make them look like mid-carders by beating them. Tony Khan, it's been 5 years. If you're not going to do nothing with Private Party, just let him go to NXT. I know some of you are going to say, oh, but what about the next pay-per-view? Oh, they could win. Bosses called them jobbers and then chumped them out. It's over. Wrap it up. I didn't care, and I didn't understand why this match was in a co-main event spot. Okay, he was making fun of his dead brother, but like, there was like no intensity in this feud outside of that, and even that wasn't that intense. It didn't warrant the co-main event spot. It had no business being there. This match was aggressively good and should not have happened. All the fantastic Bryan Danielson matches he's had all year, this one was kind of on the lesser end. It sucks because this is his last match as a full-time wrestler. I know some people were praising this as like the greatest ending to an AEW pay-per-view, but like, were we watching the same pay-per-view? This pay-per-view ended quite literally the same way that the All Out pay-per-view ended. But there were more wrestlers involved. We got a match that we've seen 4 times already, a rehash pay-per-view ending from All Out. I don't know why anyone's impressed by this match. Danielson should have just retired after All In. I'll keep it at that. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Review coming soon.